So this is the first video I'm putting together after reaching 10,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much. It may be a small milestone, but it means a lot to me, okay? So again, thank you to all my old subscribers who stuck with me through all of this, and the new subscribers as well. Welcome. Some of you probably know that I promised to do the original Solaris when I hit this 10K subscriber mark, so rest assured, I am working on it, and it should be out in a couple of weeks. Anyway, with all that out of the way, let's get on with the Twilight Zone, shall we?
I am the right hand of vengeance.
Intensify the probe.
What about Buck?
It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
Arthur Curtis walks into his office, greets his secretary, discusses his wife and daughter, and then tries to make a phone call. After he fails to connect, someone shouts cut, and like the Kool-Aid Man, the Twilight Zone smashes through the fourth wall to reveal that Arthur Curtis is not, in fact, Arthur Curtis, but rather Jerry Reagan, an actor merely playing the part of Arthur Curtis. How many times can I say Arthur Curtis in a sentence? 3. We quickly discover that Jerry still thinks he's Arthur, and that he's at risk of losing his job over his erratic behavior of late. They try to calm him down and get ready for the next take, but Jerry refuses to play along, insisting that he really is Arthur Curtis. The director wants to call an ambulance, while Jerry is only concerned with finding a working telephone to call his wife. When he can't remember the number, he has the operator look it up, but they tell him the address he gave them doesn't exist. After going full Karen on the operator,
"You're wrong, operator. Please connect me with your supervisor."
Jerry then runs off the stage and nearly into the car of an even bigger Karen, his ex-wife, Nora. Here's some trivia for you. The actress who plays Nora, Eileen Ryan, is Chris and Sean Penn's mother. Jerry takes the driver's seat and tries to drive home, telling Nora he has no idea who she is, which goes over about as well as can be expected. When he can't find Arthur Curtis's house, Nora begs him to stop acting, but of course he doesn't think he is. He eventually gets out of the car and sees a little girl who, from the back, he mistakes for his daughter. In the sanest possible way, he grabs the girl and spins her around violently, so she runs off to tell her mom that some strange man just grabbed her.
That's the one, Mommy. That's the one, Mommy. He's the one that grabbed me.
Pro tip: don't do that. Nora drives him away before the cops can get involved and takes him to Jerry's real house, a small mansion estate on the golden side of the train tracks. Still thinking Jerry is faking a mental illness to get out of his responsibility to pay her, she drags him inside and basically writes out the check herself. Meanwhile, Jerry meets his agent, Brinkley, who is genuinely concerned that Jerry is flushing his career down the toilet. Brinkley quickly becomes the first person to actually believe the man is having some kind of mental break, but Nora wants him to shut up so she can get her money and leave. Jerry then tries to call Arthur Curtis's workplace, which of course doesn't exist, and passes out. Later, when he wakes up, Brinkley tries to talk to Jerry as a friend, empathizing with his situation and reading from the script to try to show him that Arthur Curtis is a work of fiction. When that doesn't work, he explains that Jerry is a good man who has been afflicted with Nora, who he calls a harpy. And from what we've seen of her, yeah, that fits. He then drops the bombshell that the studio cancelled the production while he was out and that they're probably tearing down the sets as they speak, sending Jerry into a panic to, quote, get back to his office, unquote. Jerry arrives at the set of Arthur Curtis's office, and about to crack as he sees his world torn apart around him, he once again finds himself in Arthur Curtis's reality. His fictional wife shows up to start their vacation, and though Jerry sees the missing furniture and hears calls to keep tearing down the set, Arthur leaves the office to live happily ever after. We then cut to Brinkley, who can't find his client, and listen to Rod Serling explain to us that Jerry Reagan no longer exists, that Arthur Curtis simply escaped. This is another Richard Matheson episode, and surprise, surprise, I love it. It's a harrowing bit of meta-storytelling using an idea that has since become a trope, used most recently by Marvel's WandaVision. Blurring the line between fiction and reality is something filmmakers, and yes, I generously include television producers, can easily relate to, understand, and exploit. As such, there's a lot of thematic depth to explore about acting, identity, and madness, and you guys know how much I appreciate that kind of thing.
Now try this new way to accent your figure. Cross your heart, see? You're suddenly shapelier. Well, that's what this new Playtex Fashion Magic cotton bra does. It crosses your heart with stretch.
Our second episode follows a popular history professor named Walter Jameson, played by Kevin McCarthy. If he were a botany teacher explaining seed pods, I'd be worried. Jameson is apparently a little too good of a professor, though, and as he reads from the journal of a Civil War soldier named Major Skelton, another professor, Sam Kittredge, watches with skepticism. After class, Kittredge asks to borrow the journal, but Jameson politely says no, after which Kittredge asks him to dinner. Take a hint, old man. Jameson agrees, and we then learn that Professor Jameson is engaged to Kittredge's daughter Susanna. That night, as he literally crosses the street from his house to Kittredge's, he is watched by a creepy old woman in the shadows. She'll be important later. Think of her as Chekhov's creepy old woman. When Jameson tells his fiancée that she's to be a housewife, her father says he'll have to spank that idea out of her.
I'm giving you my daughter's hand, not her brain. She's going to get that PhD if I have to
spank her, I know.
After they all eat, Kittredge sends his daughter upstairs and begins interrogating Jameson over a classic game of obvious metaphor. Kittredge presses Jameson over his age, and though Jameson admits to lying by a few years, Kittredge continues the thread by asking Jameson why he hasn't aged in the 12 years they've known each other. He then asks about his teaching method before showing him a picture of the Civil War soldier Major Skelton, who looks exactly the same as Professor Jameson, down to the conspicuous facial mole and pinky ring.
You shouldn't have kept that ring, you know. It's a dead giveaway.
Eventually, Kittredge wears him down until Jameson finally admits that he has been around for at least 2 millennia, though he doesn't specify an exact number. Kittredge begs to know how Jameson did it, but Jameson doesn't really know, saying that in the quest for immortality, he submitted to experiments by an alchemist who subsequently vanished. Jameson watched his friends and loved ones grow old and die while he stayed the same. When Kittredge argues that it's a small price to pay to avoid death, Jameson counters that death is an integral part of life, and that he longs for it. Only he's still the same old coward he has always been. He even mentions the gun he keeps in his desk that he's too afraid to use. After finding out about his multiple marriages over the centuries, Kittredge forbids Jameson from marrying his daughter.
I can't let you marry my daughter.
And why not?
This is the turn where Jameson becomes a full-on supervillain, and I'm all for it. Jameson explains that he needs Susanna for totally selfish reasons, even knowing what will happen in the end, and that he intends to take her away that very night. As she runs upstairs to pack, he goes back across the street to his own house to do the same. He goes to his desk and picks up Chekhov's gun, only to be interrupted by Chekhov's creepy old woman. Turns out, she's one of his former wives, but Jameson tries vainly to deny being who she knows him to be. In the ensuing argument, the old woman grabs the gun and shoots him. By golly, Chekhov was right! In all seriousness, though, they should have introduced the gun a lot earlier. If Jameson had been contemplating it before he ever even went over to the Kittredge's house, it would have added a layer of menace and suspense to the whole thing. Hearing the shot, Kittredge runs in to find Jameson mortally wounded by a bullet to the gut. As Jameson slowly dies, he admits he was wrong, and then he starts to rapidly age. He seems happy about it, saying,
"Nothing lasts forever. Thank God."
Jameson collapses, and a worried Susanna shows up. Only by the time she makes it to the room, Jameson has turned to dust on the floor. This is a true work of speculative fiction, in that it starts with a simple premise and just goes with it. It explores some predictable philosophical ideas that come out of the concept of immortality, but eventually settles on an interesting character dynamic where Jameson admits to not really changing or growing. He is no wiser, no braver, and most importantly, no less selfish in his need for romantic connection, even when he knows it is doomed to end in tears. It's powerful stuff. And that's all I have on A World of Difference and Long Live Walter Jameson. Now, as always, do all those YouTube-y things. Check out my Patreon. Huh? And all that other good stuff. But until next time, this is the Unapologetic Geek, telling you to never be ashamed of what you love, as long as you're not hurting anybody.
What is it? What's happened?